Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. So, it's going to be a little bit different one today because we're drinking one from Drekker, but it's not a sour. It's not from the Brain series, it's not from the Chonk series, it's not from the Slang du Jour series. It's actually, they have a series of Milkshake IPAs called the Secret Handshake, and they think, from what I've seen, there's only like 3 or 4 of them in this series right now, but today we got one called their Lemon Meringue Pie Secret Handshake Milkshake IPA. And milkshake IPAs are kind of iffy for me sometimes, just because I love IPAs. I love hoppy flavors when it comes to beer. But sometimes when it comes to a milkshake IPA, they're adding other like stuff in there, what Drekker likes to call their gimmicks. They like to put in there when they're adding different things to kind of recreate what kind of flavors they're trying to do. And sometimes it's a little bit hit or miss. Whenever I drink a milkshake IPA, you get a lot of acidity coming through it. So one time, there's a couple times to where if you kind of let it get like almost to the point where it's starting to get room temperature, it gets really too acidic. It starts getting tart and sour and all that kind of stuff. It's something that happens with like losing the lactic acids and all that kind of stuff, and you put in lactose in it because sometimes it's a sugar. It's pretty much a sugar you add to the beer, and sometimes it's like I said, it's really hit or miss with me. So I'm hoping this one kind of changes it up a little bit because there's a lot of different hops in here when it comes to this one because they're trying to create a really large amount of flavors of lemon when it comes to this one. So, of course, they have 4 predominant hops in here that really bring off nice lemon citrusy flavors because it uses cashmere, mosaic, lemon drop hops, and then citra hops. So all of these are really well known for bringing lemony, citrus, all the kind of stuff flavors when it comes to it. But I'm hoping that they didn't use too much when it comes to the hops when it comes to the hop recipe in this one, just because if you're using too much hops, you're going to get the hop flavor and you're not going to be able to taste like the little gimmicks like the graham cracker, marshmallow, all that kind of stuff that they want to recreate a lemon meringue pie kind of feel with this one. So hoping they did a good job and kind of gave it a decent amount of hops in there during the boil and all that kind of stuff. Either they added during the boil, the whirlpool, or whenever they decide to hop it, or when they're dry hopping it. Who knows if they dry hopped it or not. So I'm really kind of curious to see how this one goes. I don't know if I said, but it's a 7.5% ABV, so it's right on that threshold of being sessionable in my opinion. 7.5 is right at that end point where I would consider a beer sessionable, but who knows? I'm pretty damn excited to try this thing out and see what it's all about. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's like on the smell. So let's see. Yep, right off the bat, getting strong. Like, it's actually more of it's a fresh lemon, that's for damn sure. There's kind of hints of like candied lemon almost, like that sugary kind of lemon drop candy kind of situation. But to me, it's just very, very upfront, fresh, like squeeze a lemon juice kind of flavor on the nose. But I really want to taste that marshmallow. I want to taste that graham cracker. I'm hoping that when they're trying to be a meringue, because meringues, we all know, are very, very light when it comes to a dessert. So like a lemon meringue pie, it's going to be very fluffy. It's going to be a very, very light dessert. So when it comes to making a beer like this, you kind of want a pillowy soft mouthfeel. And they're very, very kind of like, you want it, I don't want to say you want it kind of, you don't want a dry kind of IPA kind of flavor, like when it comes to like one of your higher IBU IPAs, to when it comes to having that more of a drier mouthfeel, a little bit oily kind of situation. I'm hoping I want to taste the marshmallow, I want to taste the graham crackers in there, so I want everything to be very, very cohesive and not be overly too acidic, not too over lemony. So we're hoping that we're going to get this with this one. So let's pour this guy. I'm going to be drinking out of my Whistle Punk glass this afternoon. Let's see how this guy pours. Yeah, it definitely looks like a nice hazy IPA for sure. Of course, with being a milkshake IPA, you're going to get a lot. It's not going to be like a clear IPA. It's definitely going to look more like a hazy. That's for damn sure. And it's definitely going to have a higher gravity to it just because with all the other stuff added to there. You're not going to get a light gravity beer when it comes to this one. And this one, it looks hazy, thick, you name it. It looks like it. Nice pillowy soft head. Definitely getting a lot of the lemon still coming through on the nose. Like I said, it was definitely more of a lemon juice predominant kind of smell. So I'm hoping that maybe you get hints of like a candied lemon, because lemons do bring off a nice amount of sweetness when it comes to make them and everything. That's why I think citrus and making food and all that kind of stuff, it kind of is really nice because it adds a nice citrusy kick, but they're also like a little bit element of sweetness that's lemons bring in as well. So I'm hoping to get that kind of element in here as well. So let's see what this thing's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Saturday. Okay, so definitely Very, very creamy mouthfeel, that's for damn sure, so they got that right. Getting a nice sweetness. Definitely getting that, like, meringue-esque kind of flavor in there where it's, like, it's light. It's almost, I think it's, like, intertwining with that marshmallow. There's definitely a good sweetness in there. The lemon in there is definitely more of a sweet, like almost a lemon juice kind of flavor, which I think is mixing pretty damn well with the kind of background of sweetness. Not really getting much of like the graham crackeriness at the end. It might be just mixing in there, adding to like that sweetness element. I'm not really getting like a breadiness on the flavor. But overall, you're just getting, to me, you're getting a nice lemon along with kind of like a nice marshmallowy creaminess with a nice kind of sweetness to go along with it. So overall, it's still pretty damn solid. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this one already. So let's look here on Untappd, because if you can't get your hands on the Secret Handshake Lemon Meringue Pie from Drekker, Untappd is a really cool thing to where they show similar beers to this kind of one, to where you might be able to find something near you or something that a brewery that you recognize that you can get your hands on that might be able to give you a kind of a similar drinking experience to this. So let's look here. We got one here from Northern Monk, which is called their Mango Lassi Heathen, which is their Milkshake IPA. I wouldn't really consider this one to be similar, even though Drekker does make a Mango Lassi from the Secret Handshake, so you can kind of get the feel of what a Milkshake IPA is going to be like. It's definitely going to be more creamy. It's definitely going to have that more of a velvetier kind of mouthfeel, but I wouldn't consider this one similar. Then we got one here from Aslan Beer Co. They make some pretty good stuff, and this one is they're dripping on the cheap, which is double IPA and all that kind of stuff, so it's just a nice double IPA. I'm not really consider this one, even though they have used the hops in there. They use Mosaic, but like Mosaic does bring off citrus, but it also brings off like a dankiness and notes of berries, and then the Citra, of course, you're gonna get notes of citrus in there with like stone fruit and all that kind of stuff. So you might get similar experiences with this dripping on the cheap with like citrus in this, but you're not going to get the same experience where it's like lemon, strictly lemon. You're going to definitely get more of a clementine, grapefruity kind of citrus coming through that one. And then we got one here called Devil's Backbone Brewing, which they have their Capit Ale. I like how that's a nice, okay, so it's like the Capitals almost, so it's probably a Washington brewery. So Devil's Backbone is probably, yeah, Roseland, Virginia. So maybe, I don't know if like, oh yeah, so that's definitely brewed for the Washington Capitals. So, but that's a game day IPA. I wouldn't really consider this something that's similar. Even that let's see, mashed in Bravo, Centennial, and Hull melon hops. Nah, I really wouldn't consider this one similar. Then we got one here from Thornbridge Brewery called Azeka, which is probably a single hopped Azeka hopped beer. Which, okay, so it's brewed with Yamika Chief hops. That's weird. I don't know why they call that Azeka. I don't know if I would really consider this one similar either, but. And then we got the final one here from Evil Grain Brewing Co. called Critical Mass, which is a double IPA, Imperial New England, with flavors of like candy peach rings, mandarin orange, and like on the nose and all that kind of stuff. So those ones aren't really Milkshake IPAs, so I'm not really going to consider those in there, just because when you're getting a Milkshake IPA, you're going to get a good amount of sweetness. You're definitely going to get that pillowy soft mouthfeel. But then you want those dessert flavors to kind of come through as well. And the only one that I can think of on the similar beers list that will bring in dessert flavors along with like a hoppy IPA flavor is going to be this Mango Lassi Heathen from Northern Monk. So it may not be similar in flavor when it comes to this, but you're definitely going to get similar profiles when it comes to creaminess. Maybe it just depends on if Northern Monk made a different kind of IPA. So when it comes to if there's a Milkshake IPA with citrus in it, all that kind of stuff, they're most likely going to add marshmallow just to kind of recreate that kind of desserty, milkshakey kind of feel to it. So my best recommendation for when looking for an IPA that's a Milkshake IPA, of course you want the hops to kind of mix with what kind of dessert they're trying to imitate in this beer. So with the Secret Handshake Lemon Meringue Pie, you're using hops in this beer that are very, very citrus and lemon forward. So I can understand why they did that, to bring those natural flavors of lemon in here without having to add like an extract or maybe actual lemon juice. I don't know if adding lemon juice would actually be a thing in this one, but then, so who knows. But let's look here at the description of this Secret Handshake, because it's definitely interesting. I don't know if they use like, okay, so they use definitely a lot of different things in this one. So the Secret Handshake Lemon Meringue Pie was brewed with golden grams, lemon, lactose sugar, vanilla bean, graham crackers, and dry hopped with Mosaic, cashmere, and lemon drops. So They dry hopped it, so that means I believe when you're dry hopping something, it's added to the fermenter during it. So you're probably hopping it during the boil with something else. I'm not sure if they did that or not, but then they add it to the fermenter when it's dry hopping to kind of, those are the steps afterwards to kind of get, instead of adding IBU to the beer where it's adding bitterness, you're getting those flavors of the beer, of the hops directly from the fermenter, so it's not going to add the bitterness. So overall, yeah, this thing's pretty damn solid. I'm liking the mouthfeel. I'm liking the lemony flavor. It's not too acidic at all when it comes to some Milkshake IPAs. Definitely giving me an acidity to it. But like I said before, I'm not really getting much of like the graham cracker, golden graham kind of situation in here, just because it might be intermingling with the sweetness of the marshmallow a lot to where it's just added sweetness. I'm not getting like a breadiness from it. But overall, yeah, it's still pretty damn balanced. My only gripe about this one was I would have wanted to taste more of the golden grams and the graham crackers a little bit more, just to kind of add, maybe if it was like a cinnamon graham cracker, it might add like a little bit of like a more of a pie crusty kind of flavor to it. But the sweetness is there, the citrus is there, it's not acidic, so overall it's really, really well done. And with it being a 7.5% and over 3,524 people rating this one on Untappd, this one has an average rating of 4.12 out of 5, which is still pretty damn good. So let's look and see what people had to say about this one. I don't think there's only a few people I think on my friends list that check this one in. So my dad checked this one in back in September. He gave it a 4.25 out of 5 where we purchased it off Tavor. And then my cousin drank this one as well. She gave it a 4.25 as well, which is, yeah, this is pretty around that realm of what I'm going to be rating it as well on Untappd. So let's look at the global ratings and see what people had to say. So we got another 4.25. We got a 4.5 here. We got a 4 out of 5. We got a 4.25 purchased at the Suds and Soda, which is a place overseas. I believe it's called Derby. I don't know where Derby is, but we got another Suds and Soda purchase, another 4.25 purchased off Tavor. Gave it a 4 out of 5, where it said it's a great milkshake IPA, sweet, lemony, and not overbearing on lactose. Yeah, I definitely agree. That's the one thing. That's probably when it comes to some of the milkshake IPAs that have kind of gotten an acidity level to it, is maybe they went a little bit over on the lactose to it. But this one is very, very well balanced. They didn't do too much lactose. It's sweet, it's lemony, and this guy described it perfectly. So let's see what else. One or two more. We got 4.5 saying this is fantastic, Mr. Boombastic. And then last one, we got a 4.25 out of 5, another purchased at Suds and Soda. So let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings on this guy on our end here. So let me pour a little bit more into the glass. So if I can kill that can. Yes, I was. So let's look at can art, because that's the first thing we usually rate on this here review. And yeah, it's definitely not as detailed as some of other Drekker's can arts when it comes to the Brain series, the Slang de Jour, all the kind of stuff. So their can art is definitely known for having a lot of detail in it. But this one, there is detail when it comes to the skeleton hands, kind of where it's a handshake, so people the skeletons are shaking hands. They kind of have the detail where it's like black flames coming through. I don't know if it's a hair or black flames, but I think it's a really, really nice touch. It's definitely clean and classy. There's a lot of detail when it comes to this part of it, but there's still a lot of real estate on the can art that could have been used, even though it's really, really nice. I like it. I would have just, when it comes to Drekker's style of can art, they usually take advantage of more of the real estate on the can art when it comes to stuff they put out. So overall, it's still solid. It's definitely not my favorite can art from them. So I'd give this a solid maybe 4.25 out of 5. I enjoy it. So let's see. If I got this beer in a flight at Drekker, would I get another one? But before we do that, let's see if Drekker actually has any of ones from the Secret Handshake on tap over right there. So if you were looking for sours, they got stuff from their Brain series available. Let's see if they have any of the Secret Handshakes. Hops, let's see. I don't think they have a Milkshake IPA available right now, which is unfortunate just because. But you definitely have some more stuff available at Drekker right now that can imitate desserty flavors. So if you like hops and you're looking for a desserty thing, unfortunately Drekker's not going to have something on tap right now for you to try, but actually, let's look at their cans and bottles, see if they have a Milkshake IPA available. Let's see. Sours, New England's, hazies. I'm not seeing any Milkshake IPAs available for either to-go purchase or anything like that at Drekker right now. So this might be just not the right time for them to, when they come and release this one. I'd probably say they might release it when it comes to the Secret Handshake stuff more maybe towards the summer, maybe a little bit in the spring, kind of bringing in those, like, still it's cold a little bit at times, so you're definitely getting ready for the summer when it comes to hoppy flavors, but then still bringing out some of those, like, desserty and more decadent kind of flavors that winter beers usually have. So let's see. If I got this beer in a flight at Drekker, would I get another one? I would think so. If I wanted a nice change of pace from their sours that I most of the time get a glass of it by itself, this would definitely be a good change of pace. I would still get that similar kind of desserty kind of flavor that I'm looking for, but if I'm looking for something for a little bit that's a little bit more hoppier, yeah, of course, I would definitely use this one for sure. So overall, fantastic. I'm a pretty damn big fan of this one. I would love to try other ones from their Secret Handshake line, just because I know they have a mango lassi one. They have like a cheesecake. There's a cheesecake one they have. So knowing that their lactose levels when it comes to these Secret Handshakes are pretty good, I don't think I would have to worry about any kind of acidity coming through when it comes to getting more room temperature and all that kind of stuff. So that's a good thing to hear. My only gripe, like I said on this one, is I wish I kind of tasted more of like that golden graham crackery kind of flavor in there. That would have made it like stand out a little bit more to me, because if you're able to kind of get those flavors to stand out a lot and still get a nice predominant lemon, get that like kind of marshmallowy milkshakey kind of thing going in there, I think it would have been an overall fantastic beer. But it's still a good beer. It's still fantastic. I think it would have just made it that much better if maybe the recipe of like the graham cracker or golden graham just was bumped up a little bit more. So with that being said, I think my final rating on this guy, I'm going to give it an 8.25. I think that's right around a good realm to do it. That would average out to like a 4.25 rating on Untappd. So yeah, 8.25 out of 10 I think is where I'm going to leave this one. Another stellar beer from Drekker. I really am not disappointed when it comes to a lot of beers this brewery comes out with. I think I've only had one beer from Drekker that I really was like, with. So out of like, I think around like 20 something beers I've had from this brewery before, having one that was iffy for me. It was still drinkable, but it was iffy for me. That's still a pretty good ratio. So overall, Drekker makes some fantastic stuff over there. So if you can get your hands on anything from Drekker, you're most likely not going to be disappointed, just because they know what they're doing over there. The recipes are fantastic. They have definitely some unique kind of profiles, which is always good if you're looking for something different. So Drekker did another fantastic job with this one. So other than that, ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. If you're looking to possibly get your hands on stuff from Drekker, I know their distribution has gotten a lot better when it comes to now the availability for their stuff has gotten more readily available. You can get it overseas. You can get it between, like, I know you can get it in the Midwest. You can find it around the Chicagoland area. You can find it in Virginia. You can find it in Pennsylvania, East Coast, New York, all that stuff. I know you can get on the West Coast, of course, North Dakota, and probably around the Dakotas, since that's where they are. They're in Fargo. So you may be able to find it like North and South Dakota, maybe getting over to like Minnesota and all that stuff. So their availability when it comes to finding stuff from Drekker has gotten a lot better over the years, so that's really good to see. Just because this brewery definitely deserves getting their name out there more, just because a lot of people haven't even heard of this brewery, and the more availability these guys have, the bigger they're going to get, because if they get a huge following, because they already do have a big following, but I think they just can get that much bigger. So if you want to get stuff from them, Tavour is always an option. You've always heard me talk about Tavour with them. It's a beer delivery service, but when you want to create your account on Tavour, you just got to put in your zip code, because since they're a little iffy depending on what state you live in, if they can ship to you. If you go down to the description, you can get a link to the website. They'll direct you directly to the App Store, where you can purchase it on either Android or iPhone. When you create your account on Tavour, they'll have you put in your zip code, and they'll let you know right away if you can get stuff delivered to you from them. And Drekker shows up on there pretty frequently, so you'll have a good availability to get stuff from them. But other than that, last but not least, if you're looking for a social media kind of aspect when it comes to beer drinking, you guys have heard me talk about this platform before. I rave and haw about it just because it's fantastic. If you're a craft beer drinker and you love or a fan of social media, get yourself over to Untappd. It's a really, really fun platform you can use on an Android or iPhone, or even on your desktop. You can check in beers, get badges, see what's popular in your area, see what's popular globally. There's so many different services that Untappd like provides when it comes to that app, different discount codes for different beer services out there and all that kind of stuff. It's just a really, really fun platform for craft beer drinkers. So I can't say anything bad about that kind of platform that they've created. So they're overall really, really awesome. So if you haven't gotten yourself over to Untappd, you can see people like me, Kentucky Duchess. I know Kevin's on there, Ian, Lee, not the real Gerard Butler's on there, Sean and Lizzie, the Typhons are on there. So we're all having a good time drinking beers and see what people are drinking around. But other than that, that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, as along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live doing another review. I have reviews planned whenever I can. If I'm not working, usually a review plan for that day, so keep an eye out for those. And of course, thank you everybody who's going to tune into this on the replay. You guys are awesome as well. I know most of my viewership when it comes to my videos happens on the replay, so you guys are awesome. But other than that, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I will see you all next time, people. Cheers.